So let's discuss something very basic that leads to awakening. I'm talking about self-consciousness. The understanding or the realization that I am this body is called physical self-consciousness. And science knows that this is a milestone that is attained at certain age. That milestone happens when you look at a mirror, you look at your image, and you recognize that image as me. This probably happened to you when you were 2-3 years of age. But before that, you would not have recognized yourself as that image. So there are animals that can recognize themselves in the mirror. But most animals don't. Meaning they have not attained self-consciousness. The ones that have attained self-consciousness that today science knows about are elephants, dolphins, and some primates, gorillas and chimpanzees, and possibly bonobos. So this first recognition of yourself is specifically called physical self-consciousness, meaning that you recognize yourself as this apparatus reflected in the mirror. This is me, this body, right? Fortunately, however, self-consciousness is something that evolves over time. So there is a next step that we need to attain. That next step you might have attained it already, or maybe not. But it's relatively easy to attain and possibly already happened to you. You may have not even noticed that happened. In my case, I remember specifically when it happened and at what age it happened. And it's when you notice that there are thoughts here in the head, that there is a voice here, constant chattering. And somehow when you recognize, oh, there are thoughts here, that's strange. It's not that previous to that there were no thoughts. Of course there were thoughts. And they had consequences. If they were positive and uplifting, they were making you feel good. If they were not, they were making you feel bad anyway. And that continues today. But at some point, you realize, or there was the noticing, that there is a voice here in the head. Along with that realization came very soon an identification with that voice. I am the voice in the head. So now, mental self-consciousness has been attained. The second level in the development of self-consciousness. And of course, it's not that the physical self-consciousness is gone. That thought, I am the body, it has not gone. But now it has expanded into I am the body and I am this voice in the head. I don't think it's too common that people will question, well, what am I really? Am I the voice or the body, right? The voice in the head or the body? But what does happen is that some individuals will experience a stronger identification with the head, with the voice in the head, and other individuals will experience a much stronger identification with the body. And this is what has been called in psychology, in Jungian psychology, the intuitive types versus the sensing types. Sensing types are more identified with the body, and intuitive types are more identified with the voice in the head. And I would say that the term intuitive may not be that accurate. I would say mental types. However, it is true that the individuals that become strongly identified with the mind, often they do develop intuition. But that's another story. Let's continue with the development of self-consciousness. We have seen already two milestones. There is a third milestone, and this will be attained only by very, very few people in a civilization like this, because there are probably civilizations where even children realize this third level. But here is considered an advanced level of the development of self-consciousness. So what this is about? Well, and this may have happened to you already or maybe not, but hopefully by watching this video, if it has not happened to you, it will happen when you end this video. The third milestone consists of noticing at some point that in the human experience, not only there is a body, not only there is a voice in the head, thoughts, but there is also awareness. Intellectually, you probably know it, but this will not help you. You need to notice awareness. You need to notice that there is awareness. Awareness of what? Awareness of all the data that is coming in. Probably 50 gigabytes per second of data. What this data is about? First, the five senses, right? Visual inputs, auditory inputs, tactile inputs, taste inputs, and smell, right? That's a lot of data coming in. Another data is the thoughts. There is awareness of the thoughts that are happening in the brain. There is also awareness of emotions and feelings, desires, goals. So all this material, all this data is being watched or observed. There is awareness of all this stuff. So the third milestone is the recognition that, hey, in the human experience, there is a body. Second, there are thoughts, there is this voice in the head. But third, even more important and interesting, is there is awareness of all this, of the body, and awareness of the mind, of the thoughts. Another word for awareness would be observation. Observation. There is observation of your thoughts. There is observation of the body. There is observation of all the sensory inputs. So now simply notice right now that there is awareness. Notice that there is awareness of all these inputs. Notice that there is awareness, perception, another word, perceiving, that's a very good one, there is perceiving of all the visual inputs, there's perceiving of the auditory inputs, there's perceiving of the thoughts, there's perceiving of the feelings. There is so much perceiving. This perceiving is like a camera that is pointing, you know, in different directions, and is also able to perceive everything at once. That's called open focus awareness. So when you realize this, and you can realize that right now there is perceiving of all this material, perceiving of the temperature of the skin. When you realize that, you have completed, or about to complete, the third milestone in the development of self-consciousness. Because it doesn't take long after you realize that there is awareness in the human experience and you're capable of noticing the awareness, it doesn't take long. And you will begin to realize that you are awareness, meaning to identify with awareness. Okay, in my experience, you will say everything is coming and going, thoughts are coming and going, sensations are coming and going, feelings are coming and going, desires are coming and going, which are feelings. But awareness is constant. It's the only constant in my life. Is present at night while you're dreaming. There is awareness of the dreams. There is awareness throughout the whole day. And I tell you, the amazing thing is that this awareness that is present right now in you has been present since you were born. And it has never faded out. It's always there. Even under anesthesia, doctors will tell you that they are never able to shut off consciousness. Consciousness is constant. They shut off memory and neurological connections so that consciousness doesn't perceive certain inputs. But consciousness itself is always there, even under deep anesthesia. So this consciousness, this awareness, different words for the same thing: attention, consciousness, awareness. In Spanish and the Romantic languages, there is only the word consciousness. There is no awareness and consciousness. There is just consciousness. It's the same thing. So now, if you have noticed that there is awareness in the human experience, now you need to realize that you are awareness, and you're not the body and not the mind. Fundamentally, that you're pure consciousness, formless consciousness. When that realization comes, that's awakening. Because it comes also with the realization that this awareness is impersonal. It has nothing to do with your persona, that your persona is a mental construct. It's an illusion of the mind, of the thoughts and feelings. The persona is also being watched by awareness. So awareness is the subject, the real subject, and the persona is an object. So once this milestone has been reached, awakening is right there. But if you want to complete this process, I recommend that you go to our website in brainoptimization.com and check a tab called Awakening that will lead you to the Awakening Protocol. It's a method. It's a step-by-step methodology that leads to awakening. It's not rocket science. It takes 3 hours to do it. But a lot of people are waking up with this simple approach, the Awakening Protocol. So consider checking that page at brainoptimization.com. Then you click the tab the tab Awakening. Awakening is not difficult, but it's deeply transformative. Okay.